What's up, everyone? Today we're here with Jeff Robison, who is the owner and head coach of Club MMA, which is an awesome mixed martial arts gym here in the Cincinnati area. I attended. Awesome place, good community, just a great atmosphere. Jeff, you're an awesome dude. Wanted to bring you on
Well,
and
no,
just kind
thank
of
you.
talk about stuff. So welcome.
No, thank you very much. Excited to be here. Just excited to talk about martial arts. It's kind of weird that we're not on the mat training right now, but sitting in a comfortable chair and just get to chat. So I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be great.
Same here. I mean, it's ever since I met you, it's been like I don't know, like wanting to get to know that guy because
Sure.
he's just full of information and stuff like that. And then when I did do the podcast, you were one of the first people I thought of, but I was like, he's probably too busy with a lot of the stuff he has going on. And then I posted, hey, I'm looking for people for the podcast. You're like, dude, I'll do it.
Yeah,
Like,
man. Well, I mean, I want to give back too and support everybody. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing about having a community is it can't just be about you. You got to give support back, and and I know what you do here in your organization and stuff, and I want to support that back. And doing a podcast is a great way for both of us to support each other. So I think this is going to be, it's just going to be fun.
I agree. Well, and kind of just to go into it all, I mean, so just kind of a background from what I know you
Sure.
as is, I come to the gym, you're the owner,
Mhm.
you're the black belt there. There's a
Sure.
few black belts,
Of course.
obviously, but you're the head coach there. You're running things. Uh, and, I see, I don't know where I've seen it, but pictures of you and Nick Hubler, I think is how you
Hmm.
say his last name, just like back in the day and just like things like that. And I've always thought, I wonder, like, what is your history there?
Sure.
Like, how did you get into mixed martial arts and
Sure.
then eventually getting and opening a gym?
Right. Well, this started way back in the 80s. If you guys know what that time looked like. I was a kid. I was in first grade. I was in grade school. Kid that sat next to me was like my best friend, Andy Page. And he just kind of looks over at me. He's like, "Hey, you want to go do karate in my uncle's basement?" And I'm like, "Yes, I want to go do karate in your uncle's basement. Of course I do." He's like, "Cool. I'll have my mom call your mom." And she did. And Andy's parents came and picked me up and took me over in the Coleraine area to his uncle's house where he was teaching a little martial arts group in his basement. He had mats and
And this was in the
this is
80s.
in the 80s,
Oh,
and
wow.
he had mats, and he just had all the neighborhood kids. His whole neighborhood was just full of kids. He had a couple sons, and he just got everybody together and down in his little karate basement. And he was very adamant. Uh, John was very adamant about every lesson costs a nickel, and you have to
Mm-hmm.
bring your own nickel, and then you can train. And he called us the Bears, which was like our like name of our program.
Mm-hmm.
And John Helton. He was my first martial arts instructor ever, and he not at the time. I was 7 years old. I was just wanted to do karate. You know what I mean? I loved martial art movies. My dad did martial arts in the 70s.
Oh,
So when I kind of, I have two brothers and I'm the middle child. And that's how I got to connect with my dad is because he did martial arts in the 70s. So when that offer came up, I was like, I'm jumping on it. I went. We ended up doing that for a couple years out of his basement. And then he actually was partnered with some guys and had a studio down on Vine Street. And we ended up going to the studio once a week. And from there, we mixed karate with judo. He brought in a judo guy to teach the kids, and it was just all fun.
do you know,
And
real quick, do you know his, like, what was his qualifications?
well,
Like,
so that's the funny part because I didn't learn any of that until I became an adult when I reconnected with him.
that's what I was going to ask, like,
So
looking back
so
now.
that's like down the line.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, it was just karate and judo. And we trained out of his studio down on Vine Street. It was kind of dingy and grungy, but like it was blood, sweat, and tears and tough. And we were just a bunch of kids, so we had a ball doing it, and probably one of the best experiences ever as a kid. And it's a cool story because it's just like a nickel. We were the Bears, you know.
There's that exchange of,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
And my buddy ended up saying, "I don't want to do karate anymore. I want to play soccer." And it kind of everything ended. And then Eventually, my dad got me back into martial arts. We found a martial arts school close to my house, and they were teaching Taekwondo at the time. So cool, signed me up for that, and I did that from 11 till I was about 16, and then ended up and at that time period, in that from 11 to 16, that was my base. That taught me everything, you know what I mean, about martial arts. And I ended up getting my black belt, and I had multiple great instructors. One
Taekwondo.
in Taekwondo, yeah. My first instructor, Jim Kappas, he was just an old school cat, just super nice, super kind. He ended up passing off the program to another guy, Mike McDaniels. And Mike McDaniels is like, as a kid, he was like my idol. You know what I mean? I had the same shoes as him. I wanted the same jeans as him. I wanted the same haircut as him. I just really looked up to him. He was just a great instructor and a lot of good discipline. And I just wanted to be like him. And that's where I literally got all my chops as far as like learn how to punch, learn how to kick, good posture, the discipline. I just loved it. And it was hard. You know what I mean? It was hard back in the day because we were on concrete floors, concrete walls, sparring without gear, and like we were doing all kinds of cool stuff. So I really enjoyed it. And then eventually transitioned to another school, and until I was about 18, and then quit for a while to go to college. And once I graduated college, I was just missing something in my life, and I got back into training again, and then I reconnected with my first grade best friend, and we started hanging out again because we grew up together all the way through high school. And then he ended up going away to college, and we reconnected, and he said, "You should call my uncle back." And I was like, "Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that." This is where I got back to my first instructor, John Helton, and I called his uncle back and reminded him who I was, and, "Oh my God, Jeff, how you doing? It's so great." I was like, "I would love to train with you again." And he ended up inviting me back over his house. You know, I'm like in my 20s now. Karate basement. Again, everything looks the same. Everything looks the same. And then I learned who he was and who he trained with. And he trained with some of the best martial artists in the world.
Did he really?
Yeah. So like, and then I was like, I thought I knew something. I'm in my 20s. You know, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm in shape. I'm this and that. And I didn't know anything. And he led me down a great path, you know, gave me some really good influence, taught me how to think, taught me how to solve my own problems, taught me perspective. And then led me to his instructors, because some of his instructors were still alive. So I started pursuing them, like Guru Dan Asano. Dan Asano was like Bruce Lee's best friend.
Oh,
So
really?
John Helton he had a black belt in Kempo karate. He trained in Pinjat Silat, which is like Indonesian, Malaysian style martial arts under Pendekar Paul Tours. He did all of his kickboxing under Ajong Chai, and then Filipino martial arts and Jeet Kune Do under Dan Asano. And then his main instructor was another original student of Bruce Lee, Steve Golden. So like, now, you probably don't know any of those names. Google them, because those are the people that were training back in the 70s and the 80s doing amazing stuff.
The OG stuff too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like all safety precaution.
Right.
Kind of like.
Yeah, I'm very lucky because I got to meet Steve Golden. I've trained with Guru Dan Asano a boatload of times. I've met Ajong Chai, his Thai coach. The only one I didn't get to meet was Paul Tours, because he already passed. But he led me to a lot of other people, and I've got to train with all them and just experience them and stuff. But the whole Jeet Kune Do Kali thing like opened up my mind on how to think. And then I think 2003 is when I started getting into jiu-jitsu.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He didn't really do a lot of jiu-jitsu stuff. Everything for them was like sticks, knives, boxing, kickboxing, self-defense. And then
more practical,
right.
Mostly. But yeah.
Right. So, but that's, you know, back in the day, that's all there was. You got to remember 1993 is when Gracie Jiu-Jitsu hit in the first UFC.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
so yeah.
Did you ever compete or anything during
As a kid, I competed in a lot of Taekwondo matches and stuff, and then did a couple as an adult just to kind of prove my point. Done some jiu-jitsu. I was at that fine line of deciding, dude, if I go all in on competing, I'm only going to focus on that, or am I going to go all in on opening a gym?
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go all in on opening a gym instead.
Probably the
Um,
better decision.
yeah, I mean, I think it was a better decision. Plus, it's more my personality.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be a competitor and a fighter, you're kind of a selfish person, and that's what you're supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
because it is an individual sport. You know what I mean? You have to have a team to kind of sharpen the blade, but you're going out there by yourself. So,
Right.
um, but I just wasn't that selfish to do it for myself. I was always, if I was trying to have a hard practice for myself, I ended up helping somebody. You know what I mean? And I just figured out that I was more of a helper than a fighter. I
Right.
love the arts and I love the technical aspects and the coaching behind it, but I think just knowing who you are, and I was made to help people. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And use martial arts as the vehicle for that. So that's
Yeah, I kind of came to the same conclusion with the stuff that I do as
sure.
well, where I'm like, I enjoy doing like personal sessions and everything, but what I really enjoy is teaching people how to do stuff because I always find myself teaching people instead of, so I can
Yeah,
definitely
no,
relate to what you're saying.
that's my personality and it's always been that way. And if you want to be a business owner in a service-based business, you have to want to serve people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that has to be the starting point. That has to be what I refer to as the passion
Mm-hmm.
of serving people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Well, and at one point when I first joined the gym, I think I've been there almost 2 years now, if not longer than 2 years, which is just really insane to me because
Right.
it doesn't feel like that long at all. But you told a story about like your wife when you went to open up the gym, or
Mm-hmm.
basically you were kind of on the fence, and your wife was basically like,
We're doing
"Do it,
it.
dude." Would you mind telling that
No,
story?
I mean like I was just making a break from so I got my I cut my teeth working for a martial arts school. And it was, a really great 5.5 year experience that ended not so well. And it came to the crossroads of, all right, I think I'm gonna open my own school. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And my wife is like, no, we're doing it. And because at that time there was just so much doubt, it was a bad break, everybody was heartbroken, it didn't end well. And I'm just like doubting myself. I'm like, I'm very capable of doing all the work, but I was just self-doubt. And she's like, nope, we're doing it. We're setting everything up. It's time to go. She's like, this is what you need to do. This is all you talk about. This is all you want to do. We're pulling the trigger. And she's the one that designed everything, got the businesses set up, did all the back end stuff that I would probably I'd have to pay so much money to get done because I don't know how to do any of it.
Mm-hmm.
And and it was her believing in me more than me believing in me. So
Which like, dude, I think that's one of the most important things. No matter if it's a significant other or a
oh,
best friend or
right.
your
No,
uncle,
just,
whatever it
yeah,
is.
no. What, and it's, her support, like, we wouldn't be anywhere without her when it comes to the start of the gym, the design of the gym. She was so intricate on building the culture because it was just her and I. She ran the front desk. She was the first face. She would answer the phone, and she's just so much better at it. And it's not like, it's just intuitive. You know what I mean? Like, I want to help you getting you when you're on the mat. Like, getting you through the door to the mat is where I struggle. You know what I mean? But like her, she can just, she can meet you with a smile anywhere. You know what I mean? And like, and that teamwork between her and I, like, she would literally just serve it up. This is Coach Robinson. He's gonna take you out of the mat. As soon as I get you to the mat, dude, you're mine. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I'm going to try and give you the greatest experience ever. But if
Well,
it wasn't for her, man, we would, and you got to think, because today's what, St. Patrick's Day,
mhm.
2026. April 15th will be 18 years.
Wow, really?
You know what I mean?
That's really crazy too. 18 years because I mean, I don't even know how old I was at 18 or any 18 years ago. But either way, like I'm 36 now, so I don't even know. Whatever, I can't do the math right now. But I remember. I feel like I remember being in the MMA scene
Mhm.
and your gym coming up, but maybe that was a different gym or it might have been yours. But either way, I remember your gym being at the at the fights basically,
Right.
and then seeing Club MMA come out, and I'm kind of like, but at that point for me it was like, who's this gym? I've never heard of them.
Right.
And then you may have been in business for a while, I just didn't hear about it. But then
Do you remember where this was?
God, man, no. I used to go to fights a lot when it was in a mall somewhere, like in the east
Oh
side.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Eastgate Mall. Yeah, they
yeah,
had one there, and then they had one at Forest Fair Mall.
I
Yeah,
don't know
I've had a
which one.
couple.
It might have been
I
both.
fought at both.
Yeah,
But yeah, man, I can't even remember every fight. Like
man. Oh, I can only.
there's been so many. That's the only bad thing is like I wish I would have had like a kept stats.
Yeah, that would have been
Because
cool.
like, like every coach has all their stats,
Hmm.
football and baseball and basketball and stuff. And I'm like, I have no idea.
Right.
I know we've won more than we've lost,
That's a good thing.
so
I
like,
saw, just side note, I saw Reese's win this past
yeah.
weekend. I love that takedown that he did. That, like, just, or the trip up, whatever
Yeah,
that
just
corner
it's just a
was.
step in like Osotogari, and it's just kind of like it's kind of lazy, but it's like
Awesome.
not really. I mean, it can be used as a great takedown, but it's not really meant to do that. It's just meant to get you to step back so he could swing. Um,
Wow.
but no, it was just super casual, and he just looked like
He
so.
made it look so easy. It was just
Yes,
in
no,
there.
it
Yeah,
was super slick. Man,
that's
proud
awesome.
of a Reese Tubbs winning his featherweight AMI belt this weekend.
I agree. I mean, I'm proud of him too. He's put in a lot of hard work. I've seen him. But back to the gym stuff as well. Like I seen, I think maybe Mike shared it on Facebook or someone, maybe you, but just like putting the gym together and stuff. How
Yeah.
big of a process was that?
Okay, so like and like it's just funny that you bring Mike up because Mike is like my left-hand man,
Hmm.
right? By far one of my best friends. And he has been at every gym that I've ever had, helping with construction, building it out. You know what I mean? Like painting, laying mats, doing drywall, building walls, putting up the fence, you know what I mean? And all right, then we move to the next one. All right, we're up there painting and laying mats and tape. And then my most recent gym, painting, mats, tape. I got my Kentucky gym down there. Just anytime I need help, that dude has always been there. Is always my number one supporter,
Yeah.
and my left hand man, dude. Like he's just always there. And yeah, it's just wild to think like how we've. I mean, I've built out so many gyms now. Like him and I have a process, and it's just like leave us alone until we figured out what we want to do. You know,
Well, I
um,
guess now you kind of got it down. How many
right.
gyms did you have before you have the two gyms that you have now?
So my first gym was on Ebenezer 2008 to like 2014, and then we moved to Harrison,
Like
and
by the BMV and
yeah,
stuff there?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We were there for from 2015 to 2020, and then we bought our building on Westbourne in 2019. And then in 2019, I started another gym in Campbell County, Kentucky with my business partner, Joel Apolis.
That's awesome.
So,
Something I wanted to say is this was a few minutes ago. I've been to a lot of gyms, MMA gyms, and like when I was in my like 18, early 20s, somewhere along those lines. I mean, I was training actual MMA, like the fighting, the
sure,
jiu-jitsu, all the stuff, and it was a really cool time hanging out with all the fighters
sure,
because they're just that different mind state, or mindset, which we're going to talk about here in a few, but like just really cool. But I've been to a lot of different gyms, and then I hurt my knee, ended up not doing any kind of anything for a while. After I hurt my knee, I tried to go back, but my knee was just hurting too bad where I just couldn't do it. So fast forward a long time, I had my son, and
sure,
he for the longest time, I'm gonna tell a little bit of a story.
sure,
For the longest time, I'm like, buddy, you should get into MMA or like jujitsu or something. And
right,
he's like, oh well, is it rough? And I'm like, I mean, it can be, but and he's like, I don't really want to. And I'm like, that's fine. Cause I don't ever force him to do anything that he doesn't want to do. But if he says, I want to do
mm,
this, then we kind of focus in and whatever. But I would bring it up every once in a while. And then one day we were at a trampoline park and he was up on this pole beam thing where you have like the little thing that you can hit each other with.
Sure.
And they were playing. He was playing with this little kid, and then this big kid came up and he kind of grabbed him and threw him over into the
Pit.
stuff. And then he kind of came over and he was like, I almost had him. I was getting the little guy, but the big guy, was giving. I was like, buddy, if you were training, you probably would have been able to get that big guy because the big guy wasn't like good. He was just
Sure.
really
He's just
big.
big.
And I was like, you might have been able to get him. And he was like, I want to do MMA. And I was like, I'll ask you later and make sure. And
Sure.
we let the time go by. I asked him the next day. I was like, do you want to do MMA still? He's like, yeah, I do. So the point I'm trying to get to is that I then called your gym, and I think it was your wife that
Sure.
answered the phone. Your wife or Brittany, they're both super nice.
Sure.
And I was like, man, they're really nice, and they're kind of put together. I think I can't remember the exacts of it, but then I stopped in to the gym for some reason. I don't even remember why. I think I need to switch times or something. I was driving by, so I figured I would just stop in. And Abby was there, your wife, and I was like uh, talking to her, but my basically just walking in, I was like, man, this is a really put together kind of gym because a lot of them weren't, and it was just like you walk in, and it was just so unorganized, and like the owner's kind of like, just go on in or whatever, and it just wasn't that. So that was my initial impression was just they have a good face here. They have someone who's friendly, and then you have an actual system. It's not like just pay me and then you can just show up or whatever. The system is important, and so anyway, started bringing my kid there, and Coach Blake was his coach at that point, and I was like, this dude is so good with kids. Like he is like so good with kids, and just a really cool person. So at that point, I was like, I'm in love. He's gonna be here. He's gonna do all this stuff. But then I smelled the mats,
Yeah.
and I was like, I have to get back out
Sure.
there. And then I did, and it's been really cool since then. But the gym's just put together, dude. I mean, it is just
Yeah. No.
nice.
That's been through trials and tribulations and intention, because
That's good.
I think what I want to do is give, if you live in the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, even like Louisville area, I want to give the Jeff Ruby experience. You ever been to Jeff Ruby's?
I have not.
Okay,
Honestly. I've been
well,
like to the precinct. Is that
okay, that's Jeff Ruby's.
Oh, is it Jeff
Yeah,
Ruby's? Oh,
yeah. Jeff Ruby's got multiple high-end restaurant,
okay.
high-end service, and the thing is like, it's not that hard. Because everybody just thinks, hey, I'm going to open a gym. Well, we just need mats and some pads and people will show up. Maybe. But we also need mats and pads, and we need everything to be clean, and we need the bathrooms to be clean, and we need the front desk to be nice, and we need the lights to be on and no holes in the wall, and we need it to smell good, right? And we need it to be like presentable, and we need it to be, and we need to know that like we need to know the experience that we're going to provide, and we need to know what kind of expectation or understanding of the feeling those people have before they walk through the door. This isn't just about fighting. Like, trust me, you want to get into a fighting conversation, I love that. But the thing is though, is it's like there's so many people missing the boat. And it's not just martial arts, it's just business in general. You know what I mean? And we're service-based business. And service-based business is how we treat people. But then we can get into all the things that don't take talent. I judge you if you're a business owner and I walk in your bathroom and it's disgusting. Like, when's the last time you cleaned it? Like, I judge you on, ooh, kind of smells in here. Or I judge you on if I go to a coffee shop and there's 3 tables that haven't been bussed. You know what I mean? Like,
well, simple shit.
Exactly. But like I said, it's things that don't take talent. And I just think like giving the Jeff Ruby experience, like, man, you walk in there, you don't just walk in there. First, you make a reservation. Then they call you back and say, we just want to confirm, is there anything that we're celebrating? Like,
did they do that? I didn't.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Awesome. Great experience. And then, well, we're very excited to see you. Come on in. Then you show up. We have a reservation. Oh, party at 2. last name Robison. All right, great. Come on, follow me this way. And he leads you, and then it's not loud or obnoxiously loud. You know what I mean? Like you can have a conversation just like we are, not be interrupted. There's not crazy music going on. You know what I mean? They just create a higher
Nice
level,
views.
yeah, higher level of expectation. You know what I mean? Like you drop a fork. I mean, there's a new fork already there. You know what I mean? You need a drink. My water glass is never half empty. You know what I mean? It's not just the food, it's the experience. So like I just think like people that run any kind of gym or dance studio, gymnastics, anything, there's so many little things that you could be doing to give just a great experience and to make it seem like it's well put together. And when you have all of that thought out, disciplined, written down, and just repeated, we want to give you the same experience every time. Now that's not even on the mat yet.
Right.
Now we get you out on the mat. Well, we have thought through martial arts and what to expect out of 4 and 5-year-olds, 6 and 7-year-olds, 8 to 12-year-olds, 12 to 16, 16 and up. You know what I mean? What kind of customer am I dealing with? Are you just a dad that just wants to get back in that wants to maybe lose some weight and just do something besides going and lifting weights? Are you an insecure person? Maybe something bad happened to you and you want to learn self-defense, or maybe you saw something bad happen to somebody, right? You're a parent that just wants their kids to have some confidence, or you're a parent that, hey, my kid needs some discipline. Like the system will provide all of that. You know what I mean? By thinking that out and having an understanding of what does martial arts do for people? Well, it can make you softer. It can make you harder. It can make you meaner. It can make you kinder. It can make you more confident. It could help you lower your ego. You know what I mean? It can do a lot of really great things. It can teach you about respect. It can teach you about courage. It can teach you about being a part of a team. You know what I mean? It can teach you how to deal with problems and anxiety. It can do a lot of stuff. I mean, that's pretty nice. That's good medicine, don't you think?
Well, I contribute MMA, jiu-jitsu, all the stuff to my shift and all that because when I grew up down in Cleves,
Sure.
and all we did was just fight each other, and like, I mean, that's all we did, just fight all the time. So I was just a hothead ready to fight everybody at any time.
Right.
So I would be driving down the street and someone would be mean mugging me or something, and I would pull over and you want to fight, and it was just terrible and really bad. Then I discovered MMA, and at that point, I don't know I mean, I can pinpoint a few things, but like my ego just went out the window,
Right.
and it was like I think it was the comfort of knowing I could beat this person up anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I don't have to prove that I can beat them up, but also it was like it brought my level of stress down. It also
Right.
brought my confidence that like I don't need to fight, and also brought the realization that some serious shit can happen if you get in a fight, and like
And you never know who you're messing with.
that's true. That's
You know what I
true as
mean?
well.
That more now than ever is scary.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You never know who you're messing with. And yeah, I think, like I said, there's so many lessons that can be learned. And, you know, but also like, I think grit is one of the best ones. You know what I mean? Just doing things that are hard. That's probably one of my affiliate gyms up in Indianapolis and Lawrence, Indiana. That's the name of their gym is True Grit. And I just love the name. I love the brand because it's like, especially now more than ever with our kids, you know what I mean? It's just teaching them to be tough, teaching them to do hard stuff because they're getting handed an iPad at a really young age, and that takes away a lot of opportunity to go outside and skin your knee and not get an chance to climb trees and do crazy stuff and ride your big wheel and you know what I mean. So like we need to get kids doing stuff that's hard, and that's what I love about martial arts.
Well, and I think that it's for kids. I think that martial arts. I mean, sports are great as well. I mean, just all the things.
No, I mean,
but
I think also any sport, as long as it's coached and facilitated in a good, positive manner, my mission for my gym is I don't want there's no bench warmers. Everybody's in on the play. Everybody's participating. Everybody's active. I'm here to build people up. I'm not here to win a game. Okay? Because you notice, you don't ever say, It's funny too because when I was a kid, everyone would always be like, "Hey, you play karate?" That's what they would
That's
say. You
hilarious.
play karate? You play karate? No, you don't ever hear anybody say that. Do you play football? Do you play soccer? Do you play baseball, basketball, lacrosse? You don't ever say, "Do you play martial arts?" No, no, no. We train and practice martial arts because it could be for life. You know what I mean? And like I want to teach anyone, doesn't matter what their age, that martial arts is a place where they can grow and become better, not just in fighting or self-defense, but as humans. And it's something they can practice for the rest of their life. You know what I mean? I'm lucky. I've been doing it since I was 7. And now it's the depth and the width. You know what I mean? That's just in the training, but like also the community and the people. You can't do it without the people. You know, you can't get good at jujitsu or Muay Thai or any of this stuff without people. So like it teaches you how to like maintain relationships and treat people good and treat yourself good. That's one thing that a lot of people forget about. Like you got to treat yourself good. You got to take care. You know, I always say, better me, better we. You know, so like, you know, I took care of myself this morning. I got up, I did some reading, a little bit of writing. I got my training session in. By 9 o'clock, I'm ready to do whatever you want for the rest of the day. You know what I mean? So like martial arts helps provide all that. And I think that's what makes it great for anyone. You know what I mean? And I'm very also fortunate. It's like, and don't think that martial arts isn't going to just benefit the people that are athletic. You know, I have the greatest opportunity in the world. We get to work with American Down Syndrome Association. I get to work with Metz Corps.
It's
Um,
doing a lot.
Metz Corps right over here, man. Michael Metz and his wife Ashley run an amazing organization, and I've been working with them for years. You know, they bring all their guys over, and we'll do an hour session, and
I
it
bet they
is
love
the
that.
best time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want to see a different side of martial arts? Do that. You know what I mean? And I it was funny because I see all these Mexicore vans. And I'm like, I don't know what this stuff is. And I remember I was having a terrible day. My wife just calls me up. She's like, we just got a call from Metzcore. They're like adult special needs facility. I'm like, okay. She's like, they asked if you would teach a martial arts class. And I just said, yes. And she's like, well, I already told them that you would because I knew what the answer would be.
Right.
Changed my life. You know
Oh,
what I
I can
mean?
imagine.
Greatest thing ever. I was just actually over at Metzcore last week,
Really.
just hanging out with Mike
They
and
have
all.
like a coffee shop
They
and
have a
stuff
coffee. You
there.
should go over there. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I meet Mike and I meet, and I go over there, man, and all of his guys are, well, hey coach.
That's
You know,
awesome.
so
How many people usually come to a class?
they'll usually get about 15 to 20,
That's
and they'll
awesome.
bus them over to me. Now we're like right really close to each other, so they'll just drive them down. And it's easier to do it at my facility because I have everything. But yeah, man, we have a ball.
I see pictures like when you post it on, and I'm
Yeah.
like, man, that's so great. I used to play softball a lot, and they have a disability tournament. I don't know
Okay.
if Metzcore does anything with that, but like they'll have a lot of special needs people down
Yeah.
there, and they have like a softball game for them, let
Right.
them hit and run around the bit, and it's just a really cool thing to just kind of include them into normal
It
everything,
like I
everyday
said,
stuff.
you know, it's just being around people. You know what I mean? Do a little punching, a little kicking, little game,
Yeah.
but also just talking about being kind and being respectful to each other. Like it's it's the best. Like I said, from anywhere to little kids just learning about coordination and this to all the way up to pro MMA fighters. You know what I mean? Like it can go anywhere. And if you're doing martial arts and it doesn't matter what style or this or that, if you get those personal qualities, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't care what style. It doesn't matter. I love all the styles.
I agree. Well, and a couple things I want to say is the first thing, like, there's mornings when I get up, and I don't know if you notice or not, but I'm not the most consistent person there. Not because I'm lazy and tired, but because either a meeting comes up and I
Of
can't make
course.
it that day and whatever. But the days when I do wake up and I'm going to be coming, I'm like if it's a day where my knees hurting a little bit or my back's hurting or I'm tired, I will make sure to tell my kid, hey buddy, my knees killing me right now. My back's hurting too. I'm
Right.
super tired. Don't feel like doing it, but guess what? I'm getting ready to go do it. Jiu-jitsu. I'm like, exactly. So I like
Right.
make sure that he knows, we are gonna have to do hard things. And there's times when he's like, I don't feel like going to MMA today. Uh, because I'm tired. And I'm like, buddy, I get that, but like sometimes we have to do things when we're tired,
Right.
push through it. And he does, and then he's thankful that he did. And he wasn't really tired anyway. He was whatever.
No, well, he's probably into something.
Yeah.
I think that's like the best advice I can give any parent when it comes to getting your kids to do activities is if you know that they got to go to practice, I don't care what practice it is, don't let them get into something. You know what I mean? Like, if they're, oh, I'm building this Lego thing. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. No, no, no. We're practicing today. Like, you got to build that. You got to build the habits. You know what I mean? Like, already this morning, my kids are 14 and 13. Get up, doing all our stuff. All right, guys, just so we're clear, we got jujitsu tonight. Telling them now because I'm not gonna hit them up when they come home and they're making a snack and my son wants to go outside and work in the garage and do it tinkering and stuff, and my daughter's doing other stuff. I'm like, nope, we got jujitsu tonight. Build that schedule. You know what I mean? Pre-frame them in the morning. This is what we're doing. Have a great day. It's a jujitsu day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%.
So like,
have to let them prepare for it. Well, and something else I wanted to touch on is just your curriculum at the gym, which is just that's another thing that a lot of gyms that I've went to don't really have. I mean, they have curriculum, they have to in order to be able to teach stuff, but nothing like yours. And I was just because I think my son started when he was 4 or 5, one of the two, and it was like just how it was broken down and everything, and I was just thinking it is so important to do that. And then as an adult, I got into the classes, and it was broken down and things. There was a curriculum there, and that wasn't what I was used to. So for
sure.
me, I was like I kind of want to do the old style how I was doing this, but then after a few weeks, it was kind of like I really like this, and I can really respect how much thought and planning has went into, and like you said, trial and error, and just like doing all that stuff to get the curriculum where it is. And I told you the other a few weeks ago, you've been doing the no-gi series, and just like that's been so cool, just coming in and doing that, because I haven't been able to do no-gi since Hubler like a year ago, but it was just a little bit too late for me, so I couldn't come in. But anyway, the curriculum's great, and for the kids, you work on things to where it doesn't feel like it's overwhelming to them, or like it's something that is out of their reach. It's just a very simple, like, hey, drop to a knee, then do this, and it's just really good. So I respect that. And my wife, when we first, well, actually, so she says this a lot, and this is something I wanted to touch on, so we can kind of move into this, is like your staff, just like your coaches and stuff. Coach Blake, Coach Damien, Coach Gears, Hubler, but he doesn't do a lot with littler kids. Liam, my son, was in his class for a while, but he just thought it was a little too rough for him. Came out, but it was just my wife says often, she's like, he better make sure he keeps, and we really like Blake. We like all of them, but like Blake is just like super. And she's like, he better never let him go, man. Like, because he is just like so good with the kids and so on. So that leads me to my question of like, what was the process, or did you just get lucky, or was it vetting people out? How did you get such a awesome staff, and like, what do you do to maintain that the attitude that you have? Because it almost seems like they care just as much about the gym as you do, which is not typical for any business. The owner's always going to care more about it than the people that work there, but they really care about the place. So how did that all happen?
Man. So the thing that I think that was important in the timeline of hiring people, it was like 2010. I already had the gym for 2 years. Numbers were good, doing okay. And my wife and I decided, like, all right, we want to have a family, but like, she's front desk. I'm running the mat.
Was it just you running the mat at that for those?
Yeah, I ran the mat for like 2 years by myself. And then she ran the front desk, but she also worked. She worked a part-time job that made full-time money because she's a graphic designer. So she was making like really good money, but they only wanted her for 20 hours, and it paid the bills.
Yeah.
So like that's where we could take the risk on the gym.
That's nice.
And then I mean, in the first 6 months of opening a gym, we went from 0 students to 100, which is really good. In 2008 when it was like really bad economy.
Yeah.
And
And I feel
then
like jujitsu and all that has gotten way MMA. It's in
oh
general
yeah,
has gotten way more mainstream and
right.
stuff.
So when it came time to being like, I came home and I was just like, all right, I need help. And Josh Gears was training with us,
Mm-hmm.
Coach Gears. Josh and my wife Abby went to college together. So I knew Josh because my wife and I have been dating since we were in high school.
Hmm.
So when she was in college, she was a graphic designer at DAP, and she had their like little friends group, and Josh was just always hanging out with everybody. And when I go hang out with some of her friends, because they're all designers, man, and I'm like not the designer guy. I'm not this. I'm not that. Like they're very artsy, and I'm like, I don't have anything to talk about with any of these people except Josh. And Josh he was like the only guy I could chat with. And him and I ended up crossing paths a bunch when we were kids because he went to Our Lady of Lourdes. I went to St. Jude, and my neighbor was friends with him and stuff. So he'd always come over. So we kind of like played together a little bit when we were kids. So I could just I could manage being around Josh. And then eventually when we opened the gym, her and I got married, we opened the gym, and she reached out to all her friends saying, hey, we're doing this thing. And he's like, well, I'll come up and do jujitsu. And he ended up training for a while. And it was like one night I have my adult class and it's going really good, but I keep getting these new people coming in the door. So I'm like, I got guys that are getting good, but then I'd have to stop class to go get the new guy, bring him out. And it was just me by myself. And I started to kind of get a little frustrated, and Josh just like could see my frustration. And he's just like, hey man, I'll take the new guy. I'll take him over in the corner and I'll show him some moves.
Nice.
Get him out of your hair. And I was like, I went home, tell my wife, we're hiring Josh. And she's like, he just got a degree in graphic design. He's getting his portfolio together. He's doing this, he's doing that. I said, bullshit. He's gonna work for me. He just doesn't know it yet. And I proposed it to him, and he's like, are you serious? I said, yeah, man. So got him. And I picked Josh because he was just a white belt when I hired him. And Nick was a white belt when I hired him. Blake was a white belt when I hired him. I needed people that wanted to help people. That was the thing. You know what I mean? So I hired Josh. Josh was just super kind and wanted to help people and loved being around kids, full of energy. Nick, when he came in, he was like 18 or 19, and he was just a stud athlete. I didn't hire Nick for his personality, not in the beginning. I hired Nick because he was a hell of an athlete, and I needed an enforcer. And then I put Nick and Josh on the mat together, and Nick poured in toughness and physicality into Josh, and Josh poured in kindness and fun into Nick. And like the greatest experience ever to watch.
That would be really cool to see that
And
develop.
yes, and they coached on the mat together for years. When we eventually expanded, we call it the breakup. I had to break them up because I got a bigger mat. Put a curtain in. Josh is teaching over here, Nick's teaching over here. And then we ended up hiring some more people. Damien's been working for us since he was 16. He started at like 10 years old with us training, and now coach goes to college, amateur fighter. Ethan Riley, professional MMA fighter, started training with me when he was 14 in my high school MMA program. Professional fighter, works for me he works at both gyms. My girl
Ethan works at both gyms?
yeah,
Oh,
he teaches down in Kentucky too. And then Morgan, she started with him since she was like 5 or 6.
It's funny seeing her little picture,
Yeah.
the pictures of little Morgan, or I think
Yeah.
I've seen
But-
Damien as well.
But the thing is everybody's got good qualities, and not all the qualities are about being the best fighter in the room, and then the rest of it is like, it didn't always used to be great. You know what I mean? Like there was so much on the job training. Like I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Like sometimes I still feel like I don't. I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm just making it up. But with Josh, it was like, he's like, what do you want me to do? I should stand next to me and do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Nick. Stand next to me, do what I do. Nick would always stand like this with his arms crossed, smack his arms, put your arms down and look and smile. You know what I mean? Because like he's a tough guy. And he is like softened up so much where he's like literally like balanced himself and he's
I really do
amazing.
like Nick's balance of
Yes.
like he's a nitty gritty fighter type
Right.
guy, but also super like can move into that like
Yeah.
kind nice
Yeah.
area.
You know, so and then Blake was just kind of like Blake, man. We didn't even call him Blake. We called him Balaki. He's like, because you ever see that the one skit on the internet? It's like, your name ain't Blake, it's Balaki.
I don't think I've ever
So
seen that.
Blake is funny, man, because he is just he came into martial arts to I feel like to just get some confidence. And now, you know, he's been working for me, been with me for 5 years. I just trained with him this morning. You know, we've got this back and forthness, and he's just, you can see his confidence when he talks and how he presents himself. And he has got probably the most coolest, calmest, collectest personality under pressure. And that's something that I definitely like admire, and how he can like something that would set me off to make me go on fire. And he's like, well, guys, I don't think that that was a good idea. And I'm just like, man, I'd be ripping everybody a new one. And he's like, no. And like, I think that's what makes him so successful with our teen program, because I passed on the teen Muay Thai program to him. And not only has he maintained it, he's grown it.
Nice.
And it's his now. And it's so awesome to watch.
It really is. Well, and I think it's important for us to surround ourselves with people like that as well, because like we can like channel that energy from them. Like you see that and you're like, whoa, that's not me, but I really like how that is. I should be intentional about being more like that or whatever.
Right.
And he does have that cool, calm.
Right.
Like I think we were.
No, he's super chill. Like
He
I'm
is.
very surprised with how chill he is. And then, well, and lastly too, because I got to make sure I talk about Brittany. Brittany is my niece.
Oh, I didn't know.
So she is my wife's sister's daughter, and I have been in Brittany's life since she was like 4, because I started dating Abby, you know, when we were teenagers. And so like she's grown up to be an adult. And when my wife decided that was like time to step back a little bit because of our kids, we needed to bring somebody on board. But like the most important thing was is like they got to be just really good with people and serving people and just have that way. And Brittany was, you know, she's bartended, she's worked in several places and stuff. And I was like, Abby, we need to find somebody like you. And she's like, well, who's that going to be? I was like, you know, Brittany. I was like, she's our niece. She's sounds just like you. And we like tried it out. It was either going to be the greatest thing ever or the worst thing ever. And it ended up being the greatest thing ever. And
she's a good personality too.
Yeah, great
That
personality.
kind of.
Yeah. And like, and that's the most important job. You know what I mean? Like, she's the face. She deals with all the people. She's the one that you know, she's the first voice, the first face, the last face, and anytime there's a problem, she's the one dealing with it. So like her job is, I mean, she's the key holder. She's the one that keeps us all together. And you know, her being a female, man, she takes care of all the boys. You know what I mean? And like that's, she makes it special for us. You know what I mean? So that's what I enjoy about her.
Well, it's just the little things like having my kids there because I had to bring them to jiu-jitsu with me because my wife couldn't watch them. And then Brittany's like, hey, you guys want some coloring pages?
Yeah.
And, you know, the little things matter.
But that's not hard to do.
Not at
And
all.
you know what? It doesn't have to be, we're on the west side of Cincinnati, man. You know what I mean? You get coloring pages when Frisch's was open.
Right.
But what did it do? It entertained the kids for a couple minutes so you could sit and eat your food. You know what I mean? Like those are just little things. That takes no talent at all. It's just gotta come from the heart. And it's, you know, hey man, and to know better. Like these little guys are gonna, what are your little guys gonna do if they don't have anything to do? They're gonna run. They're gonna run up and down 1,000 times, slide on. They're gonna find something to do. You know what I mean? So like but as a business owner, and like I said, it doesn't matter the business. You should know that.
I agree. Well, and kind of just shifting from how amazing your business is and everybody there is, because I truly do believe that. Um, Something I wanted to talk about is just like, and we've kind of touched on it a little bit, is just like discipline in
Mm,
life. And I know that, well, I don't know, but gathering from knowing you, I think that you're very big on discipline. And like, if you have something you need to do, you need to do it. And for me, I actually lack discipline in my life when it comes to, like, let's say a diet or something,
mm,
or I'm going to, instead of eating out, I'm going to eat food at home. Like, I am just, I'm hard, or I'm not that great with discipline with that. However, when it comes to like meditating, I can meditate every single day. I've been meditating every single day for probably 9 years now. So
sure.
it's like I can keep that discipline, but most things or some things I can't. So I do lack with that. But I too think that discipline is one of the most important things in
Oh
life.
yeah,
What
man.
would you say
I
with
think
that?
discipline is. I think intentional discipline, right? Intentional self-discipline. Um, I like nothing is gonna get built if you don't have discipline because it's never gonna accumulate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like going out and building a sandcastle and then coming back the next day expecting it to still be there. It's not. Water's gonna run it over. You know what I mean? So like you can't build it there. You have to build it over there. You know what I mean? For it to accumulate. So like
Yeah.
I think everything's a building block. And I think when we look at the concept of discipline, it's a bunch of little things done daily, intentionally over time that create something amazing. And if you say, I want to weigh 200 pounds and you're 240, okay, well, we know what we want. The problem is you want it right now, not over 6 months.
Mm.
And if you can care about the day in, day out stuff and just break everything down to daily disciplines, 5 daily disciplines done over 7 days, 14 days, 21 days. Think how much stuff you can get done. You know what I mean? And it's like, look, my daily disciplines in the morning. Okay, I wake up at 5. And I just started really getting up at 5. I'm a morning person, but like I was getting up at 6, and I was like, I'm gonna push it back an hour. I'm gonna get up at 5.
What
I
time do you go to bed typically?
Late midnight.
That's crazy.
I might get an afternoon nap in. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But 5 a.m. get up. I read. I have a couple daily readers. Like I do like the Ryan Holiday Stoic reader, and then I have a John Maxwell daily reader. Quick, quick, just page. Pick the date. Read. Write on it a little bit, and then any other thoughts, and then and I set my timer. 15 minutes. Click. Boom. All right, I'm done. Now, what project am I working on? It's, let's say about 5:30 by that time. 5:30 to 6 hour. I got 1 hour to do whatever I want. So I might be working on my website. I might be working on a project. I might be building out curriculum. Boom. Hour. Once that's done, the last 30 minutes before 7 a.m. is just plan the rest of my day. Get my bag packed, write out my to-do list. I got to do this, drop this off, whatever. 7 o'clock hits, I'm done. Kids come downstairs, wife comes downstairs, I make coffee, help my wife do whatever she needs to do to get the kids ready out the door. And then once they're out the door, my day starts. I'm either training people, training myself, shooting videos, doing whatever I got to do for my day. You know what I mean? But like, I've done that intentionally every day since the beginning of January, and I've gotten 10 times more stuff done.
Oh yeah.
And like, but like that's just the short-term conversation of discipline. Man, look, you practice 10 arm bars a day times that's 70 arm bars. And we ripping arm bars at open mat, homie. You know what I mean? So like I just think like if we can start taking the things that we want and breaking them down into just the short-term goals, accumulative, and you just said, I can't stick to a diet, but I can meditate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, clearly meditating is important.
Right.
The diet's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, my sale on the diet is, have you ever just woke up one day and you just felt amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What if you could do that every day?
Right. Yeah, I'm
Like,
with you on that.
I mean, I've changed everything. I've changed my diet, my eating habits, my lifting, supplements, sleep. You know what I mean? Like, I've literally changed everything in like the past 9 months in my life. I have repeated the same day every day for like 9 months, and I've only had like 2 bad days.
That's really well, and I think that.
And that to me is what I want out of life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, boom, these supplements, water, you know, coffee. This is my first meal, going to lift, doing this, doing that. Like, I'm spending probably a good 3 hours of just working on me. But when I get to working on everybody else, I'm 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting like 75% Jeff today. You're getting 100% because I've filled up the gas tank. You know what I mean?
I do. Well, and I think it's important to think about like the breaking it down into little goals as well instead of having one just big goal. So, like for example, I want to eat healthier instead of just making it that one big goal and trying to eat healthy. Maybe like each day, you know, you're breaking down.
Best advice I ever got. 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
7 days. Commit for 7 days. That's it. If you can commit for 7 days, you can be done. See how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to day 8, you just committed to 14.
Yeah.
And like, it's the best advice I ever got. My dude,
Yeah.
my guy Herman Keith, Herman's personal training. He's like, just do it for 7 days. He's like, intentional. Be intentional for 7 days. And I'm like, all right, I'll do it. And then I did. And then I'm sitting there thinking like, well, I'm doing okay. I think I could do it again. Okay, I'll commit to 14. And then it became 21. And you know what I mean? And like, and now it's like been like almost 9 months.
Right.
And I'm like, now I'm like, by committing, I've gotten 10 times more. I feel better. My joints don't hurt as bad. The inflammation is so down. I'm just ready to go. I've dropped so much weight. I'm so much stronger. I'm so much faster. This is the lightest I've been as an adult.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Same here right
And
now.
yeah,
Too,
you know what I mean?
without eating healthy.
You know what I mean? But like the thing is like now I'm addicted to the feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like in like I wasn't like a big drinker, but you know, I have a glass of whiskey or a beer. Like I don't need it.
Yeah.
I don't need it. Like I would go home because I'm just like dog tired and my throat's raw. I'm just gonna have a little glass of whiskey before I go to bed. And then what would happen is well, what did I just do all day? I'm dehydrated. Wake up in the morning, now I got a headache, drinking a gallon of water, coffee, you know what I mean? Taking supplements to just try to like get my nutrients back up. And then I would rinse and repeat that cycle over and over and over. And then you're sore, you're stiff, nothing feels good. And I'm like, and I just changed my diet for 7 days and didn't drink. And I'm like, this is better.
Yeah.
And then you get addicted to that feeling of feeling good. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I just want that.
I hired a nutritionist a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But and I really stuck to the diet for probably a month or so,
Sure.
and I did feel so much better. And just like making sure I'm drinking enough water, which I
Oh
still
yeah.
do now.
Mm-hmm.
But it does. You do feel so much better with that, and that kind of leads me into my next question: is like when it comes to doing mixed martial arts, jujitsu, any of that kind of stuff, what are your key? What's your key advice of like keeping our body healthy and recovering, and just because like I mean we have some guys and they're I think his name's Greg maybe, but 67 years
Greg,
old. That's
yeah,
insane.
Greg is awesome.
Like
I
that's
I want to
crazy.
be Greg when I grow up.
Oh,
67 years old, been involved in wrestling for over 50 years.
well, he has me like up on his knees, like floating me in the air, twisting, and I'm like, this guy's 67 years old
Yeah.
and little with
Great
me.
shape,
Like, it's crazy.
great personality, just great discipline, just amazing human being. I want to be like Greg.
Yes.
That guy pushes me
Mhm.
because I'm like, I want to be like you. Um, so I think like what's important first is not having to think that you have to be like everybody else.
Mhm.
It's not important. Like just show up and be the best version of yourself. You know what I mean? Like I know when people show up at the gym and, I'm going to be 45 next month, Huber's in his 30s, Josh is in his 40s. Um, we've all been training for a really long time. And I mean, like thousands, tens of thousands of practices, reps, rounds, minutes on the mat. And I know we make it look easy. Um, but the thing is we still struggle physically and mentally and emotionally and all that stuff. And some days you got your up days and sometimes you got your down days. There's plenty of days when you're like, hey, coach, you want to get around? I'll be like, I'm good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like you got to remember, you might get 2 to 3 practices a week. I get like 10 to 20.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I don't want to be touched. It's Friday.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, but like people just got to go at their own pace and they got to understand like, look, nobody cares. Nobody cares. You think everybody cares, but they don't. Just show up and everybody's just going to meet you at the level that you bring. And cool, if you're having an up day, man, let's go hard. If you're having a down day, cool, man, I got you. Let's just move around and it'll be fine. You know what I mean? So like that stuff happens. You're going to be sore. But being sore and being tired are all the more reasons that you should care about drinking more water and
Right.
eating better and going for a walk. And you know what? I think I'm going to do some push-ups and some sit-ups and some squats because man, I could be really good at jujitsu if I was just like 10 pounds lighter. You know what I mean? But don't wait. Just get out there and start doing it. Those pounds will fall right off. You know what I mean? Like, so it's, there's a lot of things, especially for people that are, in their 40s. Like, you got to care about resting. I know you want to come 5 days a week. You might need a rest day. You know what I mean? Like, you might need a day where you just do nothing or just go for a walk or stretch. You got to build up all those little things so your body can start to kind of calcify a little bit. Your body gets comfortable. You know what I mean? Because like it's not something that you just jump into. Like
Right.
it hurts. You know what I mean? But like you got to be smart. And the 18, 20 year olds, um, they're lucky, man. They can just come in and do it, and it's great. Everybody else, take your time. If you're gonna try jujitsu or martial arts, just go to a gym where you feel like where you're comfortable, and you can go at your own pace, and then eventually pick it up. You know what I mean? Like just
Well, that's the cool thing because, like you said earlier, there's like dads. I mean, like myself, I'm a dad that came in just because I used to train to be competitive, but now I'm like, I just want to come in and just get
yeah.
some exercise and also
Mhm.
learn and become better, which is why I started doing gi because I was like, gives me something to work towards with
Right.
the belts and
Sure.
stuff. But then I did do a competition because I was like, I feel like I want to, and I want to do another competition. But every competition that's came up, including the one on the 18th, are on birthdays of my family. So the
Oh,
18th is my son's birthdays. The other one was on Valentine's Day, which is
right.
my wife's birthday. So it's like I haven't been able to do it, but I do want to compete again simply for my own satisfaction. I don't really care if I'm the best. My last tournament I did, I was like, I want to. My main goal was not get injured and just get out of there, and I ended up getting third place, which if I no excuses, but I think I could have beat everybody in my class except for
Yeah.
the guy I lost to.
Yeah, and
And
that's okay. But like point systems are screwy and this and that. You know what I
the
mean?
guy was good. He was
Yeah.
just better
No,
all
and that
around.
but good on you.
Yeah, I mean
You know,
it's
like, you know, he was just better than you. That's okay. That's just not having an ego about it.
Oh, not at all. Yeah, I saw this first round and I was like, that guy's freaking good. Like
Mm-hmm.
he has to be a wrestler, even though wrestlers aren't allowed in this division. And then we got out there, and I was like, I'm gonna get all that out of my mind. I'm better than him right this second, and we started messing around. I was like, all right, I'm feeling good. And then he ankle picked me, and I fell. He got on top of me. I scrambled, but then at that point, just dominant pressure, and
Right.
he got mount, couldn't get out of it. So it is what it is. My next match, I was very dominant in that match and got the guy in a rear naked choke, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and finished him. But I only got 2 matches because I got to buy my first round or
Right.
whatever. So it was just so I got third
Right.
place. But anyway, that's the cool thing about it is like I come in and there are the 18-year-olds or the 20-year-olds that are like fighters, and I get to roll with them, and I roll hard with them as well, which is
Yeah.
nice. Then I have the dad that's in there going easy, and
Right.
I roll easy with it, and it's just.
Right.
And then there's the days when I'm like, I'm really sore or my knee's hurting, and all you have to do is tell someone, hey, knees hurting today, and they're like, all right, I got you, and then we
Right.
make do with what we have.
Right. Well, that's, you know, don't, there's always a way to figure out some type of training. You know what I mean? So, and
Half the
that's,
time I feel better though. Like I'll go in with pains, and then I feel
man,
better.
I went in this morning and I was so sore and I'm like, by the time me and my guy Tony got done, I was like, dude, that was awesome.
All right.
You know?
Yeah, basically, kind of leading into my next question is just like, in your opinion, what is a mistake that people like just moving into mixed martial arts or jujitsu or any of that make? Like for me, it's kind of like I don't know. Some people go in. I've seen people go in where they're like, I want to go in because I want to be a good fighter and I want to be able to like go out and street fight everybody and stuff. Obviously, not the best idea. But what's your thoughts on that?
I think like people that come into martial arts, especially MMA, and I think the goal for me as a gym owner is I have a baseline. So this is my baseline. This is where I want the culture of people. The people that come in above it, and then the people that come in below it, right?
Mm.
The people that come in below it are people that might be out of shape. They feel down about themselves. They might have some depression or confidence issues, whatever. Cool. Walk through the door. That's the hardest thing they'll ever do. My goal is to build them up, get them to the baseline. But then you got the people above the baseline. You got people with egos, people that are cocky, people that, oh, I just want to be a cage fighter. You know, man, I'm gonna go out and whoop some ass. We want to bring those people down to the baseline. You get what I mean? So I just think like however you walk through the door, we're gonna get you to you're gonna get to the baseline.
Yeah.
You can get to it can be the easy way or it can be the hard way. You know what I mean? And you know, and I can't be mad at somebody that wants to be a winner. Can't be mad about that. Because what I can do is teach you how to be a good loser, right? I think the hardest thing to teach is to teach somebody below the baseline to want to be a winner because they just don't care. You get what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
I
harder
do.
to get somebody to want to win than it is to get somebody that wants to win and will do everything it takes to win. It's easier to teach these guys how to lose. You get what I mean? Than it is to teach these guys how to win. So like people that come in above the baseline with attitude or ego or this or that, the room is gonna just drag you down because you can have all the heart in the world, but you don't have the skill and you don't have the mindset and you're just super fast and super this and super that. We're just gonna slow you down. Because you gotta remember, there's been people doing this for a really long time out on that mat. And if you think you're the first person that's just gonna come in and shock the world, it's probably not gonna happen. You know what I mean? So like the mat will handle that. You know what I mean? But it will also be handled with the same level of service and experience. Hey man, all right, I would suggest that you slow down a little bit. I would suggest that you slow down a little bit. Oh, you're gonna wrestle Hubler today.
Yeah.
Those two suggestions I made, Here's the third one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I think I learned a lesson today. Yeah, man. And like, we're just normal. We're just going to talk to you just like this. I'm not going to yell at you or bark at you. I'm just going to say, if you slow down a little bit, you could be so much better.
Mm-hmm.
If you just slow down, listen, follow directions.
When I first started, I was doing no-gi with Hubler in his class in the evenings, and I uh, came in and I was like, man, I'm doing pretty good. And this was after like a month or two. I was
Sure.
like, I'm like doing really good. I'm feeling real confident. And then it was uneven numbers. So, and I came in late, and Hubler was like, I'll roll with you. I'll train with you. I was like, all right, cool. And then we did like sparring during that, and he beat the shit out of me. And I was like, because he doesn't have like, he just goes. And,
He doesn't have a, he's just got a switch.
yeah.
That's it. It's
Mhm.
either on or off.
Well, he humbled me really
Yeah.
quick. And I was just talking to my friend over this weekend, actually. He, at a point in his life, he got really, really big, like super big, and just by lifting weights and everything. And then I was training at another gym. This was a long time ago. And I invited him in, and I was like, dude, you should come in. And he still to this day talks about it. And he's like, dude, I remember stepping in that door, and I was like, I'm bigger than everybody here. Like, I got this. And he said, do you know Jeremy Pinder by any chance? He said Jeremy Pinder laid on top of him for like, or maybe it was someone else, but either way, it was someone little laid on top
Jeremy
of him
Pinder's a little guy too.
for like 10 or 1 minute. That's all it was. He said he laid on top of him for 1 minute, and he thought he was going to die. And he said at that moment, he was so humbled, like with just the fact that he thought he can come in and beat everybody up. But then he realized there's so much more to it. And I think that's the biggest thing is you walk into a bunch of guys, and like even for myself, I'm not a huge guy. I have a decent build, and I'm a very strong kind of person. But there's guys, man, that are littler than me that beat the shit out of me, and I love it. Like
Well,
I think it's the coolest thing ever.
I just think it's so fun. I mean, like,
I do too.
I'm not interested in getting hurt or anything, but like, I put my neck out on the line every day, and
Mm-hmm.
but I enjoy it. I think it's super fun. I think I only want to be around people that do it
Yeah.
because there's just a level of understanding. Like, look, I was just at the MMA fights over the weekend for a Reese. I'm in a room full fighters and coaches. And everyone comes from a different background. You know what I mean? Some train at the top gym, some train at like, rinky-dink gyms. Some people train out in their basement, but everybody comes from a different walk of life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty busy. Lots of people bumping and shoving into each other. So it's just because oh my God, my bad. Hey man, you doing okay? Hey, how's it going, man? Where are you guys from? Like, they're just the nicest people.
Yes.
Because they know they're in a room full of people that will throw down at any time.
Right.
And that's the last thing that they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, well, let's just be nice.
Wow.
And it was cool.
I think the world could use more of that because there's a lot of warriors out there, man, and they need to realize,
Keyboard warriors.
especially the keyboard
Yeah.
warriors. Jesus. Well, and another thing I was curious about is like, and this may come to discipline as well, but like, what do you think is like the thing that separates people that come and train for years versus people that come and then they just end up only doing it for a month or two and then they quit? Now, I guess that's kind of a loaded question though, because some people it may just be hard on their body and that's not what they need right now or want right now, or other people it may be, I don't like this style or whatever. But do you think that comes to discipline there, or do you?
I don't know. I think it goes, so discipline is the work that's done after we've established, I feel like a passion.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You're passionate about something. What does that do? It motivates you. It gets you going. Like, man, funny. Last night we're at the gym. Reese shows up, brings his belt, waving it around and stuff. And
They actually get to take those?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And Brittany comes up to me. She's like, hey, see those two new guys sitting on the bench down there? I said, yeah. She's like, they saw the fights over the weekend and they're here because they saw Reese win and they want to train here. And I was like, well, that's cool.
That is really cool.
But something motivates them, like a passion, or they're inspired, right?
Mm-hmm.
So inspiration only lasts like a stick of juicy fruit gum. You ever had juicy fruit gum? It's like great for like 2 minutes and then it's awful. Okay. Discipline is you got to keep chewing. You know what I mean? And you just got to keep grinding it away. So like the goal, what I feel like is if you can create a good experience for somebody day one and replicate that experience over and over and over again for like a good, what they say, 21 days to create a habit.
That's what they,
So if I can do that for a good month, I can keep you and retain you. And I also, but it's part of the system to keep you coming back, keep you engaged, keep you reminding you of this stuff. You know what I mean? You know, so like, I think it's a little bit of both. Like they have to do, when any client walks in the door, they have zero responsibility, right? The instructor has 100% responsibility, right? They start attending class, boom, boom, boom. They get a piece of tape on their belt or whatever. They've just accepted 5% responsibility, which means I kick down to 95. And then eventually,
that's a good way to look at it.
My job is to, as a coach, and I even believe this as a parent, my job is for you to want me, not need me, as your coach, or like to my children. Like, I want my children, when you're adults, to want me, not need me. I have to give you all of my knowledge and information, and then you've got it all. You don't need me anymore.
Yeah.
But I hope you want me because I'm your dad, or I'm your coach, or I'm somebody that served you and helped you become a better human. You get what I mean? So like,
that makes a lot of sense.
So I just feel like it's a little bit of both, especially in the beginning, because they don't know what they know. They know nothing. You know what I mean? So like, getting them to care about that. That's your job as the coach. Also, hey man, if you miss a week, I'm going to call you.
Right.
Hey bud, what's going on? Everything okay? Oh, well, I had a situation. Well, is it, you cleared up? Because if you are, love to see you back on the mats Monday. You know what I mean? Like, that's retention. You know,
something that, I've had Josh reach out to me before, and I've had him reach out to my kid, and it's like,
get a postcard in the mail. Something.
He actually loved the postcard he just got. It was like just your Jim saying, "Hey, you're doing a good job," basically, and he was like, it's hanging on our refrigerator right now. But he was like, because it was addressed to Liam Vickers, I think, and I let him open it or grab it or whatever, and he was like, I don't know, he really liked it.
Hey man, little kids don't get mail.
I know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but it doesn't take talent, Josh.
Yeah.
That just takes good service and wanting to care. You know what I mean? Like, hey man, where's this little guy at? He might be struggling at home. He might be giving you a fit, wanting to come, and then boom, he gets a message from one of the coaches. Hey buddy, miss you. Haven't seen you in a while. We got to go back to the gym.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's I agree. But that's the thing. It's just like, I don't understand why businesses don't want to care about their clients. You know what I mean? And like, I'm tell you right now, Brittany, Josh, and Blake and Nick and Damien, they all care. And Ethan and Morgan, I got to say all their names, okay? Because they're gonna be. Oh, you didn't say my name. Nope. That's if you're on the team cares. You know what I mean? And they don't get to do it if there's nobody there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
that's true.
So,
well, and I think that I think what you have going on is just perfectly came together in a way which tells me that it's something that you were obviously meant to do, and the universe, God, whatever, supports it, and you are there, and it's the way it is. And another thing you do is like work with law enforcement and stuff, and like I love seeing that, because I think and also I've seen you work with like NFL players and stuff, and it's like,
I had one of those yesterday.
Did you? Yeah. And it's just one of those things where like there's a place for it and everything. I went home. I don't know if you remember a few weeks back, but I forget the guy's name. But one of the NFL players, I was like training with him for the day, and we were doing something where we have to like lift him up. I don't know, whatever. But I went home and told my kid, I'm like, hey, I was just training with this guy here, and it was just a cool experience. So getting to like train with an NFL player and realizing those guys are freaking huge, dude. Like they are crazy
They're
big.
really hard.
Yes, I can imagine. He was just throwing me around, but I was just like, if this guy wanted to just throw me halfway across the gym, he probably could. But anyway, with the law enforcement stuff, how long have you been doing that? Like with the law enforcement?
So, in 2008, my father-in-law worked for juvenile court for Cincinnati juvenile court,
Hmm.
and they were struggling with their like hand-to-hand like response to resistance program. They're like, because they're a correctional facility for juveniles, if they have to go hands-on, they're only allowed to restrain them certain ways, and there's a lot of protocols and stuff that need to get met. Well, at that time, their training department, the person that they were outsourcing to teach them their moves, passed away, and they were looking for somebody new. And my father-in-law was like, my son-in-law owns a martial arts school. We could call him. And I went up there and met with them. Went back, did a little research, created like a in-house program for juvenile corrections and for like restraining, and that got me in the door. And I had an agreement with them for quite a few years, probably about 10 years. And then some of the people that I worked with there ended up moving up the ladder, going to other facilities, and they liked my work. They called me. There was a pretty good network. So so that's just the correctional side. Well, then it was just like, well, we started getting a lot of cops come in and train. And then, I was like, well, I'll just start doing like a quarterly law enforcement workshop, and we'll just go over the topics. And I've been very fortunate to get to work with tons of police officers, Cincinnati, Lawrenceburg, Blue Ash, St. Bernard, Cheviot, Green Township, Delhi, Northern Kentucky. And now we're starting to get a little bit of a following, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a personal passion to work with law enforcement, because they just need more training. You know what I mean? Like, we're asking these guys to go out and put their lives on the line every day, and we're not giving them the training that they need on a daily. Like, they sign up for the academy, they go through it hard 6 months, but like their mandates after that are not high. And it's like, and departments should be making their training a part of their job and paying them to train. So getting in with all the departments and administrations can be a real pain in the butt. So I just said, screw it. I'm just going to go to the officers. I'm going to give them a good deal. I'm going to help them out. I'm going to offer all these extra little training opportunities. And if they want to take advantage of it, I'm here. And I'm gonna do my part for my community. You know what I mean? Because making sure these guys are safe, but also just spreading the message that like law enforcement officers are people too, and they have families, and they're putting their asses on the line every day. And my job and hope for a law enforcement officer is for them to be able to use their wits and use their minds and be able to stay calm and be able to handle a situation professionally and not taking it personal and not taking it home with them. You know what I mean? And to never have, the best cops on the planet are the cops that never have to draw their gun. You know what I mean? So like, and I believe in all that, but I also believe that when they're at work, they have to be have intentional discipline on what their job is and not drag in, anything crazy and not take it home with them. So I'll be honest with you, like, I look up to those guys a lot, and I think they're really great people. I couldn't be a cop. Too emotional.
Yeah.
I'm too emotional. It would come home with me, and I wouldn't be able to deal with it. But I do have a lot of skills to be able to help them. So like, I want to try to provide as much extra help to them and support them. So, one, they can maintain their mental health on and off shift, and they can maintain their safety. You know what I mean? So,
Well, and I think with training martial arts or jujitsu, like just all the stuff, I think that it trains your mind to be calm, and it helps a ton with being able to stay calm under pressure. And I think a lot of the times when you see of a cop like doing something bad or something, which 100% we all have to understand they're under immense pressure and trying to go home to their family at the end of the day. But when we see a cop, sometimes cops go in to it and they're a little bit of a hothead or something. Like they're going into their
Sure.
job and they're a hothead. And that's where I think mixed martial arts and all of that can help a ton with them being able to just stay calm and have that confidence and not, I don't know, blow up in a situation
No, 100%.
and give them the
But
actual
like,
technical skills.
but the other thing is like anybody can get hot in their job. Anybody
Mhm.
can get that. So it's like, but I do realize we hold law enforcement to a higher standard. Um, but yes, I just want to be able to help them and give them more training, give them more opportunities to
Mhm.
train, teach them not just the what of martial arts, but the way,
Mhm.
integrity, you know what I mean? Having some discipline, being kind, um, because it's important. You know, it's
Yeah.
martial, like I said, martial arts is the medicine for everything, man. It can help people with a lot of stuff.
It
And
can.
it's not about being a world champion or winning a bunch of medals and shit. It's just about becoming better versions of yourself, you know, learning how to problem solve, learning how to build relationships. You know what I mean? And like the people that really get into it are the ones that get addicted to the puzzle.
Yes.
Like the puzzle. Like I worked out today with my guy Tony. We did a whole bunch of like judo throws,
Mm.
and we're just working out the puzzle. Like we didn't practice any moves. We just literally sparred until we found something that we liked and like, oh wow, that was really cool. Let's see if we can replicate that again over and over and over again. You know what I mean? So
I do. Well, and I think once, like, when you first get into things and you're new at it, it's kind of like you're just trying to survive. But then once you start to get a base there, then you do start to look at it as a puzzle and you start to learn new
now
things.
it's just refine. I mean,
Hmm.
refine, refine, refine. Any day that I get to do jujitsu and not get hurt doing it is the greatest day ever.
Right. Well, and we were talking about kind of like our ability to stay calm and all that stuff. You have a family, you have your business, you have, all the stuff that you have going on, your training, your coaching, you're going to fights uh, whenever there's a fight, like you're cornering them and stuff. What do you think the key, or what would you say your key is to like maintaining a good, stable mental health, like having good mental health and just staying physically stable, basically? I mean, and we've kind of talked about some of this is like your regimen in the morning and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, I got some non-negotiables, dude. 5 a.m. to 7 a.m.
Mm.
Get some me time in. Um,
And I
make
actually really liked how you said like you get your me time in those 1 to 3 hours. I can't remember what it was, but then once you switch gears to help others, your cup's kind of full and you can then pour
yeah,
it
I
out to
mean, like,
others.
like you got to fill your cup first. If you don't, like, it's never gonna work, you know.
Hmm.
And I said it before, like, it's better me, better we, you know. So like having my work-life balance. Um, my wife is the most understanding human being on the planet when it comes to understanding our balance is there is none.
Yeah, I
Okay,
guess that's a good way to look at it.
there
Yeah.
isn't any. We are we are extremists. So it's gonna be I'm not gonna see you for 3 days, but when I do see you, I'm gonna see you Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'm not gonna leave your side.
Hmm.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
There's gonna be certain days where, I think we'll probably this week eat 2 meals together as a family.
Hmm.
But when we do eat meals together, there's no TVs, there's no phones, there's no this, there's no that. My son sometimes will get crazy and get out the candles and light candles and stuff, make it
Nice.
intimate. You know what I mean? Do something fun. But then we'd sit and talk. Nobody's gonna leave the dinner table until we're done talking.
Hmm.
So it has to be done in our balance is just doing it in extremes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
Well, and something I've struggled with my business and everything is like being away from my kids a lot and then something I found is like then, or when I started paying attention to that, I realized that when I'm with my kids, my mind is in other places, or I'm on my phone doing something or whatever, and then I'll play with them for a second, and then I'll go on with other things. And I realized I don't feel fulfilled with that time I spent with them. So then when I
Right.
got intentional about it,
Yep, that's the key word.
it
That's
is.
my word of the year is intentional.
Yeah.
No, like I said, when I wake up in the morning 5 a.m. to 7 o'clock hits.
Hmm. Well, and I think we need to be able to turn that off too, because there's so many people that do carry their work home with them, or the drama home with them, or things going on in life, and they're not able to be present with with what they're doing.
Right.
And I think that's a superpower in itself of being able to turn things off. Another thing that we do aside from my wellness centers that I have is that we do property management. So we manage
Right.
almost 100 properties in the
Right.
Cincinnati area, but like that's an all day job if you let it. But we made it to
Right.
where it's 5 o'clock, we're done. Like we're not talking
Right.
about it anymore. We're
Yeah.
go with it. So I think being able to turn things off
Mhm.
and switch gears, put all your intention towards that. When you're on the mat, you're all for your students at that point.
Right.
When you're done with that, it's all for the next thing.
Yeah, man. Honestly, just turn your freaking phone off.
Yeah, that too.
You know what I mean? Turn your phone
Yeah.
off. Like I try to do the little things with my kids. Like, you know, my son and I will go fishing, or like, hey, Dad, can we go outside? Man, well, what do you want to do? Can we hit golf balls? Let's hit golf balls. Can we do
Mhm.
this? Yep, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to. I don't want to always be no.
Right.
And I remember, um, a couple years ago, um, this MMA coach that I highly respect posted on the internet, and it was a picture of him at his daughter's high school graduation. And all he talked about was how lucky he is to have his wife to help raise their daughter together. And he just kind of talked about how, you know, awesome his daughter is, and how she was, she was amazing. She's great. She's cares. She's kind. She's tender. She's all these things. She's like, and she's all these things because of her mother.
Mm.
And he's like, he's like, I wouldn't classify myself as a terrible father. He's like, but I spent the majority of my time training fighters, traveling the world, giving to people that were taking from me, or would need me now and not need me later. And he's like, and I gave all my time to those people, and I didn't give my time to my kid. And like, and he's like, and I'm just lucky that my wife has kept us together and this and that. And he's like, I got a great kid, and I hope my daughter doesn't think I'm a terrible father, but I wouldn't blame her. And I saw this post, and like the second I read it, I just threw my phone and I was like, all right, I'm done. Like, I'm done. I wanted to be that guy, and now I don't want to be that guy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And if that makes me have to give up on the wanting to train a world champion and this and that, yep. Because at the end of this, at the end of this life, the only thing that matters is how you treat your kids and the relationship that you have with them. All the other people that won gold medals and did this and got attaboys and all these other things, that doesn't mean anything. Like, if you don't take the time to spend time with your kids and be intentional with them, and if you can't turn off the client or the this, or tell your client, look, I'm with my kids right now, I will call you back when I'm not with my kids. Like, if you can't set that standard, I just think it's a recipe for disaster. I think your kids are going to hate you, and I think your kids are always going to think that you put everything else first. And I don't want that. And it was like, I needed, I've always heard that, you go in there and spend time with your kids. And I'm like, well, I'm trying to build this gym, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. And my wife was always, reminding me that I needed to do that stuff. But like, it was the punch in the gut that I got from listening to that guy. And I'm like, cool. I'm not missing a family vacation ever again for a fight. I'm not missing a play or a football game for a fight or a fighter. Like, It's not happening.
I made that decision as well a long time ago, just when my first son was like 6 months. No, he was about a year. And it was just like my business here was starting to pick up, and I was starting to get all kinds of sessions. And I was at a place where I was like, I was working until 5 o'clock. I would come home, see him for about an hour or two before he actually went to bed. And
Right.
then I would go out and do sessions. Sometimes I would go straight from work to sessions and not even see him all day.
Right.
And I thought, I'm building this business, and I'm trying to get this experience. And then there was a certain point where I don't know the turning point, but I was just like, I'm done with that. And when I'm on my deathbed, am I going to be happy with the amount of time that I spent with my kid? So now it is spending a lot of time with them. The one thing that I did notice is it's not always that intentional time. So then I started to shift that, in that even if it's 15 minutes, I feel so much more satisfied with that 15 minutes than I would an hour of just kind of like halfway there with them.
Right.
So I agree with that.
Well, that and the other thing is like kids don't need stuff.
Mhm.
They need you.
I know. I agree with that as
You know what I mean?
well.
And like, and there's so many parents out there that are missing the opportunity or the boat. And there's also like there's some requirements that you should be meeting. Like you should be teaching your kid how to throw a ball, how to catch a ball, how to like right now my son is like I've taught him how to cut the grass. It's taken a while. That kid can cut the grass, can do everything, like wants to be in charge. You know what I mean? Like wants to do all this stuff, goes and picks up all the sticks, can get the lawnmower out, cut the whole grass, put it away, clean it.
Oh,
You know what I
wow,
mean? Like
nice.
it's taken time, but like I sit and look back, like it took me 5 years to teach my 13-year-old son how to cut grass. You know how it all started? He just sat on my lap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, and you got to invest. You know what I mean?
Do you
And
give
like,
them allowance for doing any of that?
no,
Just being there.
no,
Yeah.
that's you get to live at our house.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
no, you don't get. You get allowance for working.
hmm
That's not work.
Not the maintenance stuff.
No,
Yeah,
if you come up to the gym and clean things at the gym, that's where I make my money. That's where he can make his money. I don't pay them. We don't pay them to do chores that they should be doing anyways.
Right.
You know, like they do their own laundry. Cool. You know, they'll cut the grass or unload the dishwasher or take the garbage out. Like it's just basic stuff. You know what I mean? Like that, clean your bathroom. Like, you know, we'll kind of like pull it out of a hat. Oh, you get the toilet today. You know what I mean? So everybody kind of mixes it up. But like my son loves cutting the grass.
I used to love to when I was younger. Well, and I think not making it feel like a job and helping them realize that it's a necessity, like it's something that has to happen
Yeah,
regardless.
I mean, yeah, no, like if we don't take the trash out, the house is gonna smell.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, and you live here, like I'm not picking up your plate at dinner. You're done eating, you take your plate to the sink. I'm not picking it up.
That's something we just started with our 7-year-old. We should have
Right.
started earlier, but like my 3-year-old, almost 4 now, he will like grab his plate when he's done, and he'll either sit
Right.
on the fireplace for one of us to put it in the sink for him, or like he does whatever he needs to
Right.
do. And I just think with our first, it was more like we're trying to help him with everything, and we didn't
Right.
realize the importance of letting him do things and figure things out himself. And now with our second, he's so self-sufficient.
Right.
And now we have to like retrain our 7-year-old to be more self-sufficient, which he is. But yeah, I think all that stuff's good. Well, and kind of just getting ready to wrap things
Sure.
up. The question, I have a lot more questions, but we're almost hitting 2 hours at this point. Where do you see the gym going? Like, do you ever see yourself retiring and just handing it over to the folks there, or?
Yeah, I mean, the life plan right now is my wife and I spend the next 5 years of our life intentionally focusing on our kids because in 5 years they'll be adults.
That's crazy.
So we already know that. So we're just focusing on getting them through high school and doing the little things that they want to do and taking them on vacations and experiencing time with them.
Do they play sports outside of like the MMA and stuff?
My daughter plays soccer and then she does drama. And
Oh,
then my
nice.
son just does jujitsu and then he does golf.
I know I've seen you talk about that a few
Yeah.
times. That's awesome.
Brutal.
Yeah.
He's good at it though. Watching golf is brutal. Playing golf is not.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's doing really well. And then he likes to tinker and like work on stuff. He just got a riding lawnmower
Nice.
that he negotiated.
Oh, that's cool.
That he got from our guy Rich at the gym.
Mhm.
And so he's like learning how to take it apart.
Nice.
And then I hooked him up with a couple buddies that I know that work on cars.
Mhm.
So my buddy has got a 17-year-old son, and he's like teaching his son how to work on cars. So I'd take him over there and let him learn how to work on cars and stuff. So
One of the most important things you can know.
Right.
I mean, I can fix my wife's thermostat for
right,
$16, whereas the dealership's gonna
Right.
charge me $900.
well, he's just interested in it. So like we're biting on that. As far as what's gonna happen at the gym, my goal right now is the next 5 years focus on my kids. Our staff is like locked in right now, so like I want to keep them motivated, and then I'm building out my consulting business more.
Mhm.
So like by the gym being locked in, I don't have to like do all the day-to-day stuff anymore. So my free time in day-to-day, I work on consulting. And then when the kids are home, focus on them. And that's like the next 5 years. After that, once the kids are kind of like driving and going to college and doing things that they don't need us for, I'll either jump back on the mat harder or start enjoying my condo in Florida.
Yeah, that's
You
what
know, so
I would go towards that one probably if it was me.
yeah.
But
But like I want to build up the consulting, and I want the staff to be able to just maintain and manage the gym on their own.
what are you doing
Eh,
with consulting? What's
So I run an organization called Focus Fight Team, which is my consulting company where I help martial arts school owners grow.
that's
So
awesome.
like with curriculum, systems, you know what I mean? Like I talk on the phone and just be like, walk me through your experience. And well, what do you mean? They just call and say, hey, they want to sign up. So I tell them to come down on Tuesday and sign a release form. They can take class. Okay, so you're like Burger King.
Pretty much,
And I'm
yeah.
like, no. Like be the nicest steakhouse in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to be the most expensive to be the nicest. You just got to provide the services. So so I get to travel a lot with that, you know, go to gyms, teach seminars, do business training. I'm actually getting ready to head to England here in a week or two
Nice.
to go over there to train one of my affiliates over there. So my goal is to keep building that. I don't want to just, the mission is the gym is doing really well and the guys are killing it. And I want to give them all the credit for that because they deserve it. So I want to start helping other martial arts schools build that up. You know what I mean? And be able to offer the same experiences that we do. So, you know, the goal, the total mission on all of this is to leave martial arts better than I found it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I think you're the man for the job for that.
Oh,
Honestly,
thanks.
I truly do. Well, that's cool. So, is there anything that you want to say before we wrap it up? And then also, along with that, if you want to tell anyone how they can get a hold of the gym so they can sign up for classes or a hold of
Sure.
you for consulting and so on.
No, only thing that I want to say about martial arts is it's a vehicle to personal growth. And if in martial arts is just one of those vehicles, you know, martial arts can be that vehicle, church can be that vehicle, you know, community can be that vehicle, sports can be that vehicle. My only suggestion is just find something that makes you grow personally, physically, mentally, and spiritually and emotionally. And if you can find that, you can better your life. And that's really the whole point. You know what I mean? It's never been about fighting. You know what I mean? Those are just the plays. But the things that we get out of it is the stuff that's really important. And all my best friends come from martial arts. Those are the people that I want to be around. I want to be around those types of people. So, but if you're looking for a change and you're looking for something to better your life, consider martial arts. You can find us, you know, west side of Cincinnati, Club MMA, or in Campbell County, Northern Kentucky, Club MMA Campbell County. And if you're a martial arts school owner or even, you know, a service-based business that needs help, Focus Fight Team is my consulting company. And my goal is just to help you run your business more accurately so you can sleep good at night. That's really the mission. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to like make you do shit you don't want to. You know, like, that's the hardest part, because a lot of consultants try to make you do things like, well, I'm not really comfortable with sales. Okay, well, I got to work around. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to be a hard sell. I'm here to listen and help find the things that you're doing well, keep those going. These are the things we need to work on and build you up. So that's really what Focus Fight Team's all about. But follow us on Instagram, follow us on all the social medias with Club MMA and Focus Fight Team. And Josh, just thank you so much for this today. It was great.
You're welcome, man. I appreciate you being here, and it was seriously nice talking with you.
No, you too.
Yeah.
Well, till the next time.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.